Yay, it's being recorded. All right, where is everybody? Hello. All right. Let me see. I'm trying to make a little space so I can see. Where's the chat? How are you guys doing today? I'm just going to wait a few minutes for everybody to show up here. Trying to get myself together here. There's chat. Hello. Hello, everybody. All right, here we go. I'm all a little discombobulated here. Hi from Philly.
This will be the best therapy around.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, you guys. Hello, everybody. Toronto, Canada. Hello.
Canada.
Yes, indeed. Hi, Minnesota. Portland. Which Portland? Oregon. So I want to say, Shannon, my third TV job was in Portland, Maine. And I was coming from Miami and I was in Connecticut, and my friend called me to take this TV job, and he's like, it's in Portland, you'll love it. And I'm like, oh, Portland, Oregon seems really far away. He's like, no, Portland, Maine. But then I moved from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon and back again. And oh my God. So I love Portland, Oregon. It's a great place. It's a great place. All right. Hey, Baltimore, Tampa. Hello, everybody. Austin, how are you? Hi. Hey, from San Francisco, Tulsa. Look at all these amazing places, you guys. Hi from Rhode Island. Originally Nebraska. Perth, Australia. Welcome in. Oh my goodness. Look at you guys. Well, this is going to be fun. I hope you love this class tonight. This is one of the funner classes. I love doing these little tarot classes, very specific information that will help you when you're reading. So people are still, I think we're good. I think I'm gonna get going here. So welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the class. Tonight we're gonna talk about figuring out when stuff happens, okay? And it is, in my opinion, one of the skills that really, it can require a little bit of practice for you to get to know what means what. Because it is an intuitive art. There's a lot of stuff that can get in your way. And so right away, I want you to, set your intention that whenever you do a reading for yourself or for somebody else, you're going to include this idea of time, because it is one of the most frequently asked questions whenever you're doing a reading for somebody. First of all, a couple things. If you want to go deeper into your tarot studies, we do have a tarot class that is self-paced. For those of you who don't know about that, we do have a, Wisdom of the Tarot, self-paced. You can, walk through it at your leisure. If you like these classes, these little one-off kind of very specific topic classes, let me know. Okay, because we, this was kind of an idea for the summer. 3 of the frequently asked questions we get. The one that's in September is going to be about getting the most accurate reading you can. And so I have some thoughts on that, and I have some suggestions and some advice for you. So if you want to do that September one, you've already bought the deck, whatever, you can purchase that class. But if you're really all in and you want to take the tarot class, God love you. Okay, Colleen will share the link with you if you want to do that. Some of you have already done that. Some of you might be new to this whole, oh, I didn't know that there was a tarot class, so we thought we'd mention it. All right, so let me get into this topic a little bit. I have some, Colleen sent out a little outline of everything I want to talk about. So you can take your own notes in that outline. I thought it would be a really good way just to sort of roll through this. We will take questions. This is a pretty specific class. So I'm going to go till 8:15 at the latest. So I will try to give you all of my information quickly. And then if you have questions, Colleen is going to be the facilitator. Let's see. Okay. So here's what I want to walk through these kinds of ways and of telling time in tarot. And to me, the secret of good tarot is not only consistency, but structure. I know you guys, it can appear that it's sort of like freewheeling, just throw out a few cards and everything like that. And that, is, later on in the process. If you're new to tarot, it's something that I urge you to have structure early on, when you're getting to know your own intuition. Because the second most frequently asked question I get is, did I get this reading right? And when you're doing a reading for yourself, there's a couple things that are going to help you structure things using a spread, asking a good question. And if you want to talk about timing, these are some guidelines that I'm going to give to you now, because I think this is a way of giving yourself some structure, because it takes away this guesswork. Well, I don't know. Am I doing this right? Consistency, practice, asking good questions, and then using these timing opportunities or ways of telling time in a reading, and try to do the same thing over and over again, okay? For a while. Say, I'm going to do the same reading every day for a month. It's going to be the same spread. I'm going to ask good questions. I'm going to learn how to ask good questions. That's in my tarot class. I think that's the key, really, being as specific as you can. When you start throwing out a bunch of cards, just like, universe, tell me what you want me to know, when you're just learning tarot, you can really get turned around by that. So I don't want you to get discouraged and stop doing it. If you really want to learn how to do tarot, there's a lot of discipline that goes into this craft, art, whatever you want to call it. It's intuitive, and you first have to get to know your own intuition before you can really start riffing. So it's like when you learn how to paint, you learn how to sculpt, you learn how to draw, you learn the rules like a master so you can break them like an artist. And that is, I believe that's the Picasso quote. But that's like kind of the thing. Like, you can't just like, the paintings that have like sprays of color and stuff, actually those people are quite accomplished artists. They have a lot of practice under their belt for painting. They have a very specific meaning, and you can do the same thing with tarot. Okay. So the first thing I want to offer, I've given you like 10 tips here. And so I'll just take them one at a time. And don't worry if you didn't get the outline, if you didn't see it, I'm going in order. I'm going to just go one right after the other. You can take notes. So the first suggestion I have, and this is my own system, is that I make an agreement when I do a reading, whatever spread I use, I always say that the fifth card out, this doesn't include the card underneath, the fifth card out is my timing card. So when you see me doing that spread of the 9 cards, 3, 3, and 3, that card in the middle is my timing card. I've made that agreement. This is part of my intention as I prepare for the reading. So that card in the middle is always my timing card. Okay. So when you do that and you have that in your head, some of these other tips are going to help you to figure out what that card means. But I just want to tell you that when I always include a timing card in a spread by this particular purpose. I always say card number 5 is my timing card. You can choose whatever card number you want. Just be consistent. And we are actually coming out with a tarot journal in the fall, or at Christmas time. And that's one of the structures of it, is to help you start to journal so that you're like, oh, okay, I see when the reading falls like this, that generally means things are moving in this direction. When I get a card, the 5th card, and it's like, this very heavy energy, I know it's kind of a slower movement. And then you can really document what actually happens in your life so that you can see what your own intuition is telling you, okay? So number 1 is use the 5 card system, or the 5th card system that I use. And I always know that my 5th card has something to do with when is this going to happen, okay? The second thing I want to say is you can use a spread that has a built-in timing card, a place in the reading that says, when is this likely to happen? And it's built into the spread. There are a few spreads out there that include time in them. I think the Celtic Cross spread does. If you want some suggestions, I'll be happy to share some with you. And I think we're including the Celtic Cross, the modified Celtic Cross I use. The card that is the 5th card is in that spread, the timing card, or the card of like, how did we get here? And that to me is a timing indicator. So it's kind of the combination of 1 and 2. I use that 5th card as my timing. It also shows me how I got here. So I'm using that as a combo card, okay? So if you find a spread, there's plenty of really good books on tarot spreads. See if you can use a spread that has a timing card in it, okay? One of the positions is known as timing. When is this gonna happen? The reason, before I move on, I wanna say to you, it's very important that you understand your intention for the spread. You understand the intention of the spread you're using. It's really important that you know that before you go in, right? Pretend that you're just, everything has to be a little bit hospital corners for a while, okay? You can't have it be, too messy creative just yet, okay? The third thing I want to get across to you is that there are certain cards in the deck that are inherently timing related. So if you get these cards in your spread and you have made this agreement that, well, the 5th card in my spread is really indicative of timing, but you're looking at the spread holistically and you see some cards that are indicating timing, right? You could have cards that move things fast. You can have cards that move things slow. Like, pull back a little bit and look at the whole spread holistically and really see, okay? See what the energy of the spread is. Is it moving fast or is it moving backwards? If you notice that all of the knights are facing the other way, like facing backwards, then you can have some kind of indicator of time in that way. So certain cards that are inherently timing related, no matter where they fall in the spread, I pay attention to this too. And you might just want to like put this in your hat because, if you're kind of getting, if you're having a little problem with kind of determining that if the 5th card is not really helping you, right? The 5th card or the timing card is kind of giving you mixed messages. These cards can help you understand timing. So if you see a 3 of Cups, okay, and I think I say this a lot on the channel, but only when it intuitively appears to me. The 3 of Cups can be seen as on the next holiday, okay? That card, on the next holiday. If you see the 8 of Wands in a spread, that can mean that things should culminate quickly or things should be done quickly, okay? Like things are moving fast when you see the 8 of Wands. When you see aces in a spread, this can kind of indicate now or suddenly. Aces, especially like the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords, they are very fast moving energy. So that can indicate now, just like seeing the Tower is also now. I say that frequently on the channel. Whenever a tower comes up and I look about timing and I go, oh, there's a tower in here, that usually means now. If I see the Tower in the past space, that means that this is already there's already something that has transpired and now you're in a new place, okay? So if the Tower's in the future, it's like right in front of you. So like, get ready, okay? That is like aces and Tower, if you see those two things right now. If you see the Wheel of Fortune, I know you're familiar with me talking about the Wheel of Fortune because people get frustrated when I say this, it's divine timing. People are like, God, I hate that. I hate it when you say that. But the fact is like that at least you realize like you're on the path. It kind of helps me when that shows up because that says to me, well, listen, you're going in the right direction. You just have to be a little more patient or you have to allow things to unfold. Don't push things, just allow things to unfold whenever I see that Wheel of Fortune. And these can be in any part of the spread. It's just giving you some more deeper indicator of timing. If you see a 9 of Pentacles, that can mean you have all the time in the world, okay? So it doesn't mean things are moving slowly. It just means that this is a reading about a situation that will unfold as it in due course kind of a thing. And so Pentacles are pretty slow moving energy. So you should be aware of that. But if there's something here that's pressing that you need to make a decision on, it's kind of a support to like, hey, you got time. Like, don't push yourself. You're okay. 9 of Pentacles is definitely, you're doing fine. All right. If you see the 9 of Pentacles. If you see the Knight of Swords, that's wicked fast energy, as we say. Wicked fast. Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands, very quick energy. If you see the Knight of Pentacles, however, that can mean delays, okay? Significant delays. And same thing goes with the Hermit and with Temperance. These things mean patience. Nothing will happen fast. So those cards are all indicative, have some kind of timing element to them. And so when you're looking at your whole spread, and if you choose the fifth card, you know, I say fifth card is always my timing card. And I look at that timing card and I'm like, you know, I don't know, it's the Page of Swords. That doesn't really have any time reference to it. But then I see some other cards in the spread that are Pentacles. Well, slow going, okay? The energy of the reading is slow. If I look around and I see a lot of wands and swords, things are moving fast. If things are mixed, okay, if things are mixed, generally what that means is there's a lot more going on. And it may be something that you are not to the place yet when you can figure out when a thing is happening. There's a lot more stuff that needs to happen first, okay? That's generally how I read it when there's a lot of mixed messages. There's like Pentacles, and then there's these fast cards, and then there's all this other stuff. It's like, okay, wait, there's just too much going on here. The timing card is not indicative of timing. There's a lot going on. There could be a lot of confusion in this reading. That's a time when I would ask a specific question outside of the spread and go, all right, can you share with me what kind of timing for this situation to occur? I would just pull one. High Priestess, it's not for you to know. Secret, not for you to know. And thank you, cards. That means it's not for you to know. Whenever that High Priestess comes up, it's like, shutty. Okay, that's what that means. So that's kind of interesting. All right, so here's another opportunity for you to kind of figure out when a situation will happen. You can do a 12-month spread, one card for each month. And before you lay it down, what I want you to do is have a little agreement. It's very important to prepare yourself for a reading and give yourself this time to do these little agreements so that you know what it means when stuff shows up in the spread. You're not like, you know, just kind of gambling about, you know, there's actual, take some time, think about it. Okay, I'm looking for when this situation might happen. You know, please bring me, you know, information around this. I'm looking for the fifth card to give me some information. If not the fifth card, then I'd like to see kind of like the year ahead as it relates to this particular situation. That has its, the entire reading is about time, right? One card per month, and you can clarify each month and, you know, see where things go. But that's a spread that's just about timing, the 12-month spread. One card per month. Just shuffle as normal and lay them out. Okay. The fifth opportunity you have is, this is kind of a big one. So this is meaty. So you can ask your deck and say, you know, I'm wondering if this is going to be happening this month, you know, and you can use kind of a yes or no kind of thing. And you can be like, all right, is this person going to call me this month? Major Arcana card is yes, no matter what major Arcana card it is. Minor Arcana or a court card means no. Okay. So is this person going to call me this month? No. Four of Wands. See, it's a relationship card, but don't get messed around in that. I asked minor Arcana card means no. And no means no, okay? So don't be like, oh my God, it's the Four of Wands. That means relationship. Nope. I set the rules and you got to abide by them, okay? So you can use major Arcana versus minor Arcana. You can say, you can set up whatever rules you want. Just stick with it. Stick with those. Try to be consistent so that when you're doing a reading and some stuff shows up, this is when I kind of see tangents happen. Because I know my fifth card is always timing. I know the spread I use. And so sometimes I'll say, and you'll see, watch the readings, you'll be like, I'll say, you know what, there seems like there's another person here, or there seems like something else going on. When you're very consistent with what you're doing, then you're able to see cool stuff. It's like you're seeing the extra storyline come in, or you're seeing other things like, huh, that doesn't make sense with this. All right. So, set up your readings so that you have a fighting chance. Okay. Set them up very strictly, and that will help you over the long term. All right. So now I want to talk a little bit about, this is still number 5. This is still this is the meaty one. So you can also use a system where you're using the suits, right? Wands, swords, pentacles, and cups. So when you're throwing down, or you're looking at that 5th card, or you're looking at, you're clarifying about timing, and you throw down, let's say, a sword. A sword usually means days. It's very fast energy. A wand will mean weeks, okay? A cup will mean months, and pentacles usually mean years. But if I see pentacles, then I'm like, this isn't happening right now. This is not, we're not, because most tarot readings do expire. So if you're doing a reading for yourself, you usually have some kind of timing element in your mind. And so ask for the energy right now, or ask for the energy, be specific yourself around the timing, so that you can see like, oh, well, this isn't, it's like all this pentacle stuff. That's too slow moving energy to be in the time frame I'm looking for. So you see what I'm saying? So you can set the time frame. I want to know if this is going to happen in the next week, and then, or the next month, or the next, whatever, and see what you get in terms of energy. If you get a lot of swords, that means days. If you get wands, that means weeks. Cups means months. Pentacles means years, or maybe never. Okay. If you get major arcana cards, put that to the side 1 second. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you get aces, all right, aces generally mean now. Okay. But if you get ace to the 10, and you get, let's say you throw 2 cards and you're asking about timing. I usually throw 2 cards, just one and a clarifier for timing around a situation. I'll show you. All right. Okay. First, I got 2 major arcana cards. So that's I'll hold that over to the side. This, I asked about a particular situation. 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. Not right now. Okay, not right now. This is both pentacles, both very heavy energy, both delays, things like that. If I got like a, let's see if I can replicate what I'm trying to say to you. If I got like an Ace of Cups, and none of the court cards. All right, Ace of Cups, and cooperate with me, please. Okay, the 5 of Cups. If I got this, I'd be like, 6 months at the outside, but it's going to start happening sooner than later. Okay. That's how I would interpret that if I got 2 cups. But this is like 6 months, 5-6 months. We're talking. It's going to start within the next month, could take over about 6 months to kind of develop. That's how I would look at that. If you get court cards, they're not timing cards. So you're going to need to keep going. If you get major arcana cards, each one of these major arcana cards, as you're probably familiar with, are related to astrology. Okay. Oh, this is a Queen of Swords. Sorry. So this is a major arcana card. This is Gemini, lovers. So that relates to June. Person could be a Gemini. If you throw another card and you get like an Ace of Cups, I would say this is a very favorable situation that could start right now. It does have relationship to love. Both of these cards are about love. When I got those Pentacles cards, I was like, ooh, that's not really happening fast. So you can think of it that way. Swords are days, wands are weeks, cups are months, pentacles are years. And then if you're looking at, oh, okay, I got a sword, right? I got the 2 of Swords. I could say, well, wow, that could happen within 2 days, right? The 2 of Swords, or the 5 of Swords. Ooh, that could happen within 5 days. If I get the, 4 of Cups, 4 months. All right. You can use situations like that, whatever makes you feel like you're getting some good information. Okay, that's another way of looking at it. There is also a whole school of thought around, and this is, I hesitate to even tell you this because I feel like this is a lot of information, but I'm going to tell you. Okay, the cups relate to there's certain schools of thought that the cups relate to summer, the wands relate to spring, the fall relates to swords, and the pentacles relate to winter. Okay, so there's differing opinions on that. Some people say that the cups are spring and whatever. This is not about what other people say. If you feel like, well, the cups are summer, things move slow in the summer. So cups, yeah, I get that. Wands move pretty fast. It's like the birds and the bees, everything moving around. Okay, I get that. The swords are in the fall, things are falling, and the sword can be used to hack down branches or whatever you want to say. Like things, you can just make some association in your head. And the pentacles, because of the slowness of winter, are winter. So you can associate the cups and wands and swords and pentacles for seasons, if you like. You can do that. That's pretty big energy. That's pretty, long-term kind of stuff. I have dogs being crazy underneath me. So you can kind of do something like that. And, that's pretty intricate because that's like a whole season, but then you're going to have to pull more cards to drill more down. So I'm just telling you that because that's out there as a timing method. And you really have to pull a couple cards to kind of drill down and get more specific. And that can be very confusing, but there is that timing methodology out there. Okay. Now, number 6, the story method. And the story method is really more like looking holistically at a reading and saying like, when is this going to happen? So let's say you've done the whole reading, you have the whole spread out there, and you have on the, in the 5th card, and you're kind of like, well, I don't really know. And you kind of look at the whole spread and you're like, what do I notice about this spread, right? I notice fast moving, or I notice slow moving. And you can say, instead of, you can ask for clarity around the whole reading. And instead of saying when, I'm going to give you this little tip. And I think this is a really powerful tip. Instead of saying when is something going to happen, ask how it's going to happen. Because I think sometimes we're looking for like, it's going to happen on June 14th. Instead of that, ask how, because that might give you an indicator of timing. So let's say you're going on vacation or something like that, right? You're going on vacation in a few months. You booked this really cool vacation. It's going to be awesome. And this person is going to meet up with you on vacation. And so you pull a bunch of cards, and there's like, like the 6 of Swords. So there's this boat there. There's the sun. There's a lot of indicators of that vacation. And you're, oh, okay, I can kind of see that. Like, how is it going to turn up? Well, there's this, you're asking the question in February in the Northern Hemisphere, and you're getting sun, and you're getting all these things. It could be A, it's going to happen in the summer, or B, it could happen on vacation. Okay. So again, I'm going to say to you, journal, 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 because when you use the story method or any of these methods, you're going to want to look back. Okay. You're going to want to look back. You're saying to yourself, it's going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen on vacation, or it's going to happen in the summer. 6 months from now, go back, because you're going to surprise yourself about like, oh, wow, I didn't even know I didn't know that this meant anything until later. And that's going to give you confidence, because part of my job is to show you your power. You have tremendous powers of intuition here. And unless you document, unless you're very conscientious about being disciplined in the spreads and in the questions, you're never going to really know, because you're going to change all the variables. You're going to change things too much. And then you're like, I don't know, maybe I was right. I'm not sure. Okay. So do yourself a favor and stick with one spread, stick with this, a similar question, or stick with the same, timing methodology over and over again, just to see for a while. Give yourself a chance to prove how amazing you are to yourself. Okay. Because that will give you confidence as you read for other people or whatever you're planning on doing. I think the story method is a very empowering way of looking at tarot, because you're basically putting yourself in the driver's seat. Because sometimes we'll ask, like, when is this going to happen? All right, I'll do it right now. When is this going to happen? And I'll get, okay, Queen of Pentacles and Six of Swords. When I take better care of myself and I move away from my current situation, you're empowered. This is all based on you. Okay. So this is what, Queen of Pentacles to me is about self-care. Six of Swords is about moving away from a bad situation. When I do these things, I'm going to move toward what I'm asking about. I'm in charge of that. So you could start this tomorrow, or you could wait 2 years. It's really totally up to you. It's totally up to you. That's why I like the storytelling method. Okay. Number 7, use a basic 1-card pull. Don't do a spread. Do nothing else. Use a basic 1-card pull and ask the question, what will be the situation when? What will this look like when? Okay. And then you can clarify for that 1 card with 1 more card. Say, what I wrote it down for myself. Tell me more. And don't pull more than 3 cards to clarify 1 card. Okay. Just try to stick with that rule. So you ask yourself, okay, what will be the situation? Okay. King of Wands. And then I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to clarify with the 4 of Wands. I'm going to clarify with 7 of Wands. I'm going to clarify with the Empress. And what I see with this is, what will be the situation? For me, this is about being in my power, standing in my power, standing in my masculine power. Okay. And what will be the situation? 4 of Wands and 7 of Wands. I will have learned boundaries. Okay. I will be celebrating. I will be maybe moving into a new house. I'll be doing my own, I'll be doing my life. I'll be, really stepping into my feminine power too. I will have become whole. And that's when this is going to happen. Okay. So tell yourself a story with the cards you pull. And that's a very important one. You can I just made this separate. So use a basic 1-card pull, ask the question, and then clarify with 3 more. You can do that. So for that one, since you don't have a big spread, right? You're just using a 1-card and a 3-card pull. This is, again, a situation for journaling, because you're going to want to sit with it for a while. You might want to meditate on it a little bit and see if some things come up for you about it. You've asked one, what is the situation? You're going to want to let that percolate a little bit. Okay. All of these things can do better with time if you allow them to. Number 8 is, what about reversed cards? Okay. People ask me about reversed cards all the time. And reversed cards to me, when they come up in a timing situation, I don't look at the wands or swords or cups or pentacles. I don't look at major arcana. I look at it like, oh, okay, the situation is unlikely to resolve itself, and there is some block. I look at that as a block. You can then look at the card as to what the block might be, or you can get some clarification by pulling 1 more card or 2 or 3. Okay. Sometimes just a reversed tarot card, whatever the card is, just tells you block, there's a block. Okay. Use your own intuition as to whether that card means this is the block, and you can understand whether it is the block by clarifying it. Okay. Okay. Reverse cards can also mean that things are temporarily stalled. If you get, if you want to look at it like, okay, I got a reverse card for the timing card, and it's like the 5 of Wands, that could mean other people are involved. The reverse card can be the Fool. Well, they're not quite ready to jump in, right? There's some kind of delay. If you get a reversed pentacle card in a timing spot, I'm like, I don't have a lot of hope that things are going to happen. And then look to the rest of the spread as to why or what's going on. Where's the energy going here? Okay. Because you get that reverse pentacle. It's like, good Lord, not only is it slow, it may never happen. Okay. So let's see what else. All right. So number 9, if you have a spread already laid out and then you want to ask when is it likely to happen and you're not really looking at the spread like there's any timing element to it, you can also do that. So you take into account the story of the existing spread and then see what comes up. You can do a 3-card clarification. You're asking a specific question about the entire spread. You're not really looking at card number 5. You're not really looking at anything in the spread, whether it's fast moving or slow moving. You're not really getting any feel for it at all. So that's a good reason to pull cards on the side and be like, okay, I'm not getting a good read on the timing here. So tell me about it. So let me do that. See. Okay. So I would say if I'm getting this, I got Justice and 9 of Swords and Knight of Cups. First of all, Knight of Cups is pretty slow moving energy. I feel like this is like pushing, you're pushing. So there's Justice and there's 9 of Swords, like too much up in your head. These are both air cards. These are both ideas, thoughts. I'm out of balance, too much up in my head. And so I'm making things go more slowly. Okay. Because I'm not in the frequency I should be. So I'm making things go more slowly. So that's how I might look at it, especially that might come up with a spread that's kind of confusing to you in terms of timing. You might be like, wow, there's all the suits are here and it's, it may throw you a little bit. That's why I'm saying if you journal about it, then you'll have some kind of record of how I handle a situation. And then later on, you can look back and see if you were correct about that. Okay. And the final one is just use a past, present, and future card spread. That's a really good, if you're asking about a relationship or a future relationship, or you're asking a clarifying question or something like that, you can just do a past, present, and future. And look at the present, look at the card in the present in the middle. Does that feel like what's going on right now? Or not so much? If you're asking about another person, it's kind of hard to determine. But if you're asking for yourself, I highly recommend that as you learn to read tarot, you ask about yourself more, because you can tell, like, okay, I'm not feeling like this. I don't, I get the card of the Fool and I'm not there. So then you know that this situation either happened in the past, has already happened, or is going to happen in the future. The whole 3 cards. If you use yourself, I think it's much more difficult. It's much more difficult to determine if something is correct. As you're trying to learn something, use yourself. Just use yourself when you're trying to do this, because you're going to know right away if something happens or if it doesn't happen. And then you're going to gain more self-confidence by doing that. If you do it about other people, you have very little way of knowing if something occurs. Even if that's like a best friend or somebody you talk to all the time, they may just not tell you. Okay. So my job here is to help give you exercises that are going to give you self-confidence, so that when you are reading about a situation or another person or whatever, you're going to feel more confident. This is a lot of information. These are 10 tips. I'm suggesting that whatever kind of hit you correctly tonight is something you should start with. I would just let the rest of them sit, take the outline, whatever notes you wrote, and just put it in your file folder and say, you know what, I'm going to work with this one method of timing and let's see how it goes. Give yourself a month and let's see how it goes. Okay. So I'm going to ask Ms. Colleen to open up the floor to questions, and we'll take questions for a little while.
Okay.
Okay.
So Joy asked, and just to reiterate, we're just trying to keep questions more specific about timing than.
Yes, we're going to stay in the timing trough.
So I think this one fits in because it was something you were talking about at the time.
Okay.
When you were asking yes, no questions, that major, it says major means yes. Major means
Major
yes.
Arcana. Yep.
Yeah. You also said the High Priestess is not to know for a spread.
So, okay. So I was trying to make a point. So those were 2 different things. I'm sorry if I confused you. So what I will say to you is, I think my larger point is make a decision before you throw the card. Are you going to look at the meaning of the card, or are you going to do a yes or no as it relates to major arcana and minor arcana court cards, right? Just make the agreement with yourself, because if you want to use the meaning of the card, use the meaning of the card. If you want to use major arcana as yes and minor arcana as no, then do that. Okay, you can do either one, but for me, you know, I just reverted right to my regular way of doing things, which is the meaning of the card. But I'm sorry if I confused you, but your point is well taken. So make a decision for yourself, and like when you're shuffling, just say it right then. Just say it out loud. Okay, major arcana means yes, minor arcana court cards means no in this situation. No, even though it's 10 of cups, minor arcana. Okay, so just do it that way for yourself, and that will really, you know, you're the one that's in charge here. You're the one that's cutting the rules. So just decide and then stick with it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So Carol says, when you get a new deck, oh, this is more about shuffling. Well, it's about reversals.
Okay.
When you get a new deck, how do you shuffle it to start reading since they are all upright? Do you mix them up at the start?
I do. Well, so I have a little ritual. I'll take my cards out of the deck. First of all, if I get them around a new moon or a full moon, I'll put them in the window before I even open them up. But then when I open them up, I like to get a feel of them. And so I do my normal shuffling. I just do my normal shuffling. And then it's kind of like I'll reverse a few, or I'll mess them around, or whatever feels good. You know, like you can have your own little rituals when you open a new deck. I like to get my hands on every card, and I don't really like other people touching the decks. So I think you know, again, these are rules that I make up for myself. You make your own rules. When I used to do in-person readings, private readings, I want that person's hands on the deck too. Okay. And then I clear the deck after that. I will put it back in order, and I will do a smudging of the deck with sage after each person. That's what would happen. I would get their hands on the deck, and then I would smudge and clear the deck. Clearing the deck means putting it back in order and saging it. Okay.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, questions in the Q&A. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Let's see. If you are, so this is from Jamie. Jamie comes to a lot of our classes and lives and stuff.
Hi, Jamie.
If you're asking about timing after you've done the reading, should you use a different deck?
A different deck than after. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes. Use a different deck. I highly advocate that. You're reminding me of another opportunity for telling time. And this is, don't use a deck with cards that are missing. It's not helpful. Here's a way of getting a sense of things in your own, what your own language is with your guides. Do a reading about an event that has already happened. It's okay, he can come up. Charlie can come on up. They're crazy. I know the two doggies are crazy. Do a reading about something that already happened. And that will give you a sense of, you know, more about the event. And it might not help you specifically with timing, but it might help you with your own confidence about, oh, I see how that looked and everything like that, because you already know what happened. Okay, so that's a little trick I use too, just to gather your self-confidence. But in terms of timing, yes, use a separate deck, and that way you'll have an access to a whole, you know, complement of the cards. Okay.
Okay, we've got some good ones in here.
You guys always have great questions.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Jaylene says, it's so funny. Anytime I see an Ian name, I always think when my best friend's name is Helene. So we go out, I'm Colleen and this is Helene. And I've got Jaylene.
Jolene.
Sorry. A little side there. She wants to know, can the 12-month spread be more like 12 days?
Sure. you are in charge of this. I'm just giving you some ways to think about timing. And Irene, yep, I have an aunt Irene. You can use whatever works for you. If you want to ask about the rest of the week, if you want to ask about the rest of the day, you are empowered to do whatever. Okay. And my point in sharing all of these things with you is just to give you some ideas so you can start building your self-confidence around this. Okay.
Okay. Karen says, oh, did you already mention reversals with major arcanas, which I think you have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kim says, don't reversals happen when there's retrogrades, like energy?
I don't know. I've never really tracked that. But the coolest thing about any kind of divination, any kind of tarot or astrology is you can kind of act like a bit of a scientist and test your theories. Okay. And that's why you journal. That's why you do it. Because otherwise, like, it just goes into the ether and you never know. You're like, oh God, last week I know I did a reading that came up with this story. Where was that? And then you reach for your journal and there it is. And that will really give you some help. So if you want to test that theory, go ahead. Okay. I'd be interested to hear what you said.
Okay.
What
so
happened?
Julie says, when you get, for example, 9 of Pentacles and 9 of Swords, like you said, do they cancel each other out? Meaning not too fast, not too slow.
Yeah. You're going to find that you're going to get a lot of, that's the most frustrating thing is sometimes things are super clear, but a lot of times things are not super clear. That's why this is more art than science, obviously. So what I would probably do in that instance is I would say, because I'm so up in my head, this is going slower than normal. That's what I would start to look at then the meanings of the cards. I would be like, oh, holy crap. Okay, 9 of Swords and 9 of Pentacles. I'd either throw one more card or I'd be like, I'm slowing this down because I'm too much up in my head. Okay, that's what I would say, right? And I would, if I pulled another card, if I pulled the 5 of Cups, I'd be like, I better get out of this mindset. Whatever mindset I have right now, I need to get out of it because I'm going to regret it. I'm slowing shit down. Stop it. I'm doing it. Give yourself the power to know that.
So
Okay.
Dawn asks, Queen of Cups, you refer to as Pisces, but other refer to it as Cancer. What is timing?
I've referred to it as both. I don't know. Sometimes it just comes through to me that way. Sometimes it feels Piscean to me. Sometimes it feels like Cancer. Is there more to that question? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Nope, that was it.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's a purely intuitive choice at the moment.
Oh, this is a good question.
Okay.
So it says, I've done past, present, future reads, but I have an issue on how to present them, quote unquote, on camera. Should I orient toward the viewer or myself?
I like to, I think it depends on how you have presented, a lot of what I do, you can't really see everything. It really, there's some readers that you don't see their cards at all. I remember when I first started the channel, you couldn't see the cards and people yelled at me. And so I made it so you could see. They were like, you're not really reading cards. You're just coming up with this. I'm like, I don't know what the point of that would be, but okay. But I think if you are focusing the camera so you care about the cards, the viewer should know. The viewer should be able to see the cards and see what you're seeing. If you're looking at the cards for yourself and you're talking to the camera, then it should be for you. Do you see what I'm saying? So a lot of people use over the shoulder cameras because it's the same vantage point. They have a really cool, it's like a boom camera. They use it a lot in food videos. That it's planted on the desk or it's attached to the desk and it shoots from the top down. So you can look at it the same as the viewer would. I like that. If you're really focused on showing the cards, I like that approach. Okay. Okay.
What's your favorite spread about timing?
I I have to say this fifth card thing has been working for me for, I don't know, 8 years. So I like the modified Celtic cross because I always think of that fifth card as how we got here and where are we going. So to me, it tells a bigger story than just the time. In that Celtic cross spread, that modified Celtic cross spread, I think Colleen, you sent that to everybody.
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay, cool. So that fifth card, I think more about strict timing, but the ninth card is the card that's immediately in the future. So like you can think of that within a few days, right? Depending on the energy of that card. If that card's a pentacle, then you know things are moving a little slower. But this is like right in front of me. And then there's there's immediate future, and then there's a near future, and then there's an outcome card. So you can get a sense by kind of triangulating those three cards. If you have major arcana cards in those three spots, this is a big deal. This situation is like kind of beyond space and time. It's something that is a kind of a learning or a archetypal experience. Okay, it's not like days or weeks matter in that instance. If you have minor arcana cards there, then usually a spread with a lot of minor arcana cards is just a process reading. If you've got a lot of major arcana card in your reading, that's a big deal. And you should pay attention to that. That's modified Celtic cross. My own modified Celtic cross is my favorite spread, bar none. And I do like the 9 card spread that I use in the channel all the time, because that tells me past, present, future, them, me, us, you know, however, whatever my intention is before I do the reading, that's how I see the story. So you can mess around with readings. I'm suggesting that you use a well-worn one like the Celtic cross spread. That's 10 cards or 11 cards. It's a lot of cards. Past, present, future is a good way to get your feet wet in terms of timing as well. So I would say either one of those two. I'm not a huge fan of that 12, 1 card per month, but I told you anyway, because that is a timing spread. So I never use that spread.
Okay. Daniel asks, so timing is a huge factor with clients that are looking into twin flame readings. And timing is so fluid in this case.
Yeah.
Even when I say divine timing is at play, no one wants to accept it.
Of course.
Yes. Is the 5th card your trick to timing in twin flame readings? Or is there a certain spread you suggest for these types of readings that can be quite complicated?
I'm going to say to you that, to me, I feel like as a tarot reader, part of the responsibility is to not let people disempower themselves that much. Okay. So that's why I prefer, I use that 5 card all the time, that 5th card thing all the time. But if I see the story and I'm like, look, there's some resistance here. There's some things, there's work that needs to be done. It's in their hands when this happens. Twin flame stuff is in their hands. Okay. I mean, nothing happens until they get into the right frequency, nothing. So if they're going to sort of throw all of their hopes into this tarot bucket and be like, well, I'm still low vibration, but you said 6 months. That is utter nonsense. Okay. That is absolutely utter nonsense. That's not the purpose of the twin flame journey at all. I would recommend to you that you show how this person can move through, hey, if you want to know how this is going to happen, right? Let's talk about that. What needs to happen here? For twin flame, I like doing the relationship spread, which is, I don't know how many cards it is. It might be 12 or 13 cards, but I did it today for the twin flame reading that I posted this afternoon. There's a divine feminine spread, and there's a divine masculine spread, and then there's the us spread, which I did in the extended, which was a full spread. And I think it's important to realize that people have responsibility for their own actions. They also have responsibility to work the journey. Okay, this is not about just like, oh, it's, you know, just some guy or just some girl, and this is just a relationship. That's not what this is about. So if you get pushback a lot about timing, especially in terms of union, in terms of any of those things, I would look at what the story is saying. You know, what is holding this up? If this person says to you, I've been trying to figure out how long it's going to take. Well, what's going on? Why is it not happening today? Okay. Because, you know, time is a figment of how is our experience of it is linear. All right. But even Einstein talks about how time doesn't move the way we think it does. So when we're talking about this, especially with a spiritual journey, there's a lot more to it than just like, oh, a tarot reading says it's going to show up for me at a certain time. I would be a little more stern about that with people, or at least like educate them, help them see. Okay.
MJ, do you prefer tarot cards or oracle cards?
Oh, I love them both. They have different purposes. You know, a tarot deck always has the same cards, right? They have the major arcana cards, the aces, the ace through tens, the court cards. Every tarot deck has that same structure. Oracle cards can be any structure. There is no such thing as a structured oracle deck. You can do whatever you want. In fact, we're thinking of doing an oracle deck here too. And you can come up with your own story. You know, you can come up with your own, you know, meaning of what these cards mean. And there's stuff that ranges. I was in Provincetown, Mass one time, and I picked up a deck that was like super tongue-in-cheek oracle, you know, sassy, all kinds of stuff. It was great. Gabby Bernstein has a great oracle deck. Then there's the beautiful serious ones, more like Gaia. And the purpose to me, like I use tarot cards to do the spread, and then I use the oracle cards to talk more about lessons or energies or stuff like that. And I love I'm starting to use this Gaia deck as part of the extendeds. And I actually read, you know, what these cards have to say, because I can see the energies of them and I share what I see. And then the person, Tony Salerno, wrote such beautiful things in here. I love to share this. So whatever you feel, I use them both together. There you go.
Okay. Okay, so let's see which one is next. Julie says, the meaning of the moon card is use your intuition, or it's a secret, ? Meaning you are not allowed to know the timing yet?
The moon for me, if I saw the moon in the fifth card, I would right away be like, there's some fear here. It depends on what the story is telling me. If things look like it's moving along, right? Like the overall story of the reading is that things are moving along. And then there's this weird moon card in the fifth spot. And I'm like, there's some stuff going on under the surface that isn't really, it's either not impacting how things are moving along, but it may in the future, or it can mean that there is a secret that is under the surface. There's something going on here. The moon in terms of timing can mean like within a month, right? The moon cycle can be like within a month. And it generally seems to me like it can be about illusion. It can be about things are moving fast because you're not really seeing the whole picture. So I would clarify that whenever you have like one card that's like a Weirdsmobile card that doesn't, you know, one of these things are not like the others, right? Everything is this beautiful sunshiny. And then there's this weird, you know, 10 of swords. Like, what's that? Why is that there? And especially if it's in a timing position, because it's like, oh, like the reading is all this sunshine and fairy dust and unicorns. And then you've got this 10 of swords, like death and destruction. It's like, okay, either they're not seeing this coming or something happily ended. So now they're free of it, right? They're free of something. And within the last 10 days, because 10 of swords is pretty, you know, that's 10 days. So, you know, which is it? But that's for your intuition to discern. But I love those readings when, when you ask the same question over and over again, sometimes the deck gets pissed and it will show you like, okay, I'm going to show you exactly what you want to hear. And it's ridiculous. It's like, I had a relationship with a guy a long time ago when I was first reading, and Jean was laughing at me because I was asking the same question over and over again. And every single card, it was like the 10 of Cups and the Fool and the Sun and everything. And there was one card in there that was like the 10 of Swords. And she was like, stop asking this question. Stop asking it, because you're not seeing that your mind is all fucked up about this. Okay. So sometimes the deck will do that. And if you journal, you'll know why, you'll know when. Okay, Colleen.
So there's lots of questions in here. So I'm going to
consolidate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what people are asking is, if you're clarifying, so someone says, when do you use a different deck? Do you always use the same deck for the entire reading? But then another person says, do you use a different deck for clarifying?
I do. I mean, that's a personal choice. It really is. Like, I will do a spread with one deck, and then, I go to a different spread. I mean, Colleen saw my cabinet full.
It's insane, you guys.
Tarot cards that I have. So I will use a different deck, just like to have a fresh start. Like, because even doing, I'll do a tarot reading, and then I'll do a reading like for the morning message, and then I'll do one for Twin Flame. I will on purpose use separate decks for those things. But your question is, within the same reading, why do I use a second deck, or do you use a second deck? It's personal preference. I never was really taught that. I just like it because I like to have the whole complement of the deck, especially if I've thrown out a lot of cards, and especially if I'm doing clarifiers. Like, I used to do a modified Celtic Cross, and then I would do a second deck, the same spread. That's an interesting thing to do. Throw out the spread, and then just do a second reading as if there was no first deck, but lay down one card again for each of the positions and see what you get. That's a really cool thing to do, because you'll see where, oh, okay, I thought it was going in this direction, but now I'm seeing the bigger picture. It's like 5-layer chess. So get yourself to a place where you feel confident enough to start messing around with multiple decks. I would use a second deck though for clarifying timing, just because it gives you the full deck. So anything could come up. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So hold on, let me go back up here. Where is this one? Okay. Shannon asks, do you ever use the numbers associated with the cards as timing?
Yeah. So I'm sorry if I didn't say that very well. You can make these decisions, and you can say, okay, major arcana cards are off the table. Any card that comes up that's an ace through a 10, and whatever suit they are. So an ace through a 10, and then the next card that comes up that is like a wand or a cup or whatever. So the first card you throw out, you're waiting to get 2 cards that are ace through 10, whatever suits they are. Okay. Okay. So first card out, 10 of Swords. All right. So I got swords there, and I got 10 and 9. Okay. So I'm going to say 9 or 10 days. And I'm going to completely disregard the fact that 9 and 10 of Swords are this like difficult, energy or whatever. It's just pure timing, 9 or 10 days. So that's how I would use it. You decide what you like, what makes sense to you. That's why I gave you all of these choices. These are all choices for you. Okay. Okay.
So Norma wants to know if the spread has many different cards, and the 5th or timing card is a court card. Do you ask for timing on its own?
Yes. Yes, then I would. The cards that have nothing to do with timing are the court cards. So pages, knights, queens, kings. They have energy to them, like the pages and the knights can be faster energy than the queens and kings. You know what I mean? They have a suit to them, so you can kind of get a sense. It's a little bit non-specific, and they really don't. If you really want to go deep into this, every single card, again, I'm going to say this book, Colleen, the Divine Triangle by Faith Javine. Every single card in the tarot deck relates to a specific time of year or a date. Third decan Aries, right? The third set of days in Aries, right? You can be as specific as you want. If you want to look at that book and drive yourself to an early grave, you go right ahead. I mean, it is amazing. Every single card has a specific set of dates related to it. Now that may work for you. For me, it's more of an intuitive choice. I like this 5th card method. You could say the 8th card in every reading. You don't have to do the 5th card. That's just what I decided, right? But if you're going to do that, be consistent about it, because you really are starting to see things. When you do get court cards a lot in readings, I had a reading one time, it was almost all court cards, and that was like the craziest reading ever. And I did have to use a second deck and do a lot of clarification, because there were so many people and there were so many energies. It was also that people were acting not as themselves. It was, wild. And the timing thing was like, I needed a separate deck just to figure that out. Okay. So this is really, we're getting back to the idea of empowering yourself by choosing one system, sticking with it, journaling about it, seeing how it works for you, getting nudges from your intuition to clarify or not clarify. Sometimes it's like, nope, that's it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll even try to clarify. You'll pull a couple cards and you're like, no, it was the original card. And that sometimes has happened to me when I'm doing readings, recording readings, and I'm like, ew, no, it was the original card. And like, nobody knows when they're watching it. They're like, how come those clarifiers didn't work? Because my intuition is like, nope, that was the right thing. So get yourself to the place where you feel confident about the system you're using. Okay.
All right. Kibria says, how would you go about using timing to make personal choices rather than when things are happening to you? Mm-hmm. For example, if I were to reach out, should I do so now or wait?
I would say, I'm a big fan. One of the things I'm going to talk about in the September class is how to get the most accurate reading. So I would change the question that I'm asking. I would say, what energy do I need to do for a positive outcome for this? What energy do I need to get myself into? Give yourself the gift of empowerment always, okay? So instead of letting the calendar dictate, right, you're asking, what energy do I need to be in for this to be successful? So in case I do reach out, it's going to work, okay? It's going to be good. I need to be inspiring. I need to be, jovial. I need to be childlike. I need to not be so serious. I need to, you know what I'm saying? So if you're asking about reaching out, you can change the question so that what's going to work for you, what's going to be helpful to you. If you're asking about, okay, this is, is this a good semester to go back to school, or is this something that I should be doing? Yes, I'm getting an ace on that one, and aces usually say to me yes. So again, your rules. And I personally change my questions so it's empowering to me. So what do I need to do for this to be for my best and highest good? How can I approach this person for a positive result? How can I best approach this situation? Sometimes you'll get like a 2 of swords, like do not do it. Okay. And that to me is more powerful than like when. Okay. If you want to ask a secondary question of when, then you can. But I would ask that question about energy first. Okay.
All right. So you may have already covered this. I was multitasking, so I apologize if I know. But lots of people are asking about how do oracle cards relate to timing and tarot?
They really don't. They really, in my opinion, They don't. Oracle cards are more about energetic information. It's more about affirmations, or, you know, what is the energy I need to be in, or can you give me more information about this overall situation? Oracle cards don't have much to do with timing, in my view.
So I have a question.
Yes. Yes, Ms.
So Carol asks, do you have a recommendation on your favorite tarot book to get the explanation of what each card means? But is that different? Like, so you created our deck.
Yeah.
And you determined what the meanings were.
Yes.
For your cards.
Yes.
It's going to be different for every deck, right?
It is. There's a little bit, like, sometimes I'll say it, like, in this deck, this 4 of Cups looks more like meditation and less like stagnation, right? That's why you get multiple decks, because the imagery is supposed to matter. Okay, the imagery is supposed to matter. The 5 of Wands in this deck is like you and the person against an other. Okay, but in some other decks, it looks like just a mishmash of people, like there's just other people interfering. So my suggestion to you, rather than get too hung up on every single deck has different meanings, this is a very nuanced, kind of advanced topic. What I would suggest to you, and this is how I learned tarot, is 3 keywords for every card. Just be brutal with yourself and stick to 3 keywords per card. Do flashcards if you want to. But what I want you to get used to is, you know, 3 of the basic ideas around what the card meanings are. Now, there are plenty of teachers who say, forget about these keywords, forget about this, like what other people say they mean, and go on pure feeling. And I can see where that is a very powerful way of doing it, because it's not like it's not like, okay, when you're, it's the difference between learning Spanish by being dropped into Mexico City and having to find your way out versus going to 7th grade Spanish class 3 times a week. Like, which situation do you think you're going to get more out of in terms of learning the language? Being in Mexico City, being sort of immersed. All right. And so if you're looking at the cards, what does it make you feel? What does the card make you feel like? So you're looking at this and you're like, wow, that guy looks like he has a lot of heavy gear on, and that horse isn't moving at all. Right. And he's just kind of, you know, there's a dog there going, are you going to move? Are you going to get going? He looks like he's kind of a stand-up guy. He looks like he's in, you know, by himself, but like, start doing that. Start looking at the cards instead of like, okay, 3 of Pentacles. All right. What, you know, 3 of Pentacles is 3. That's this, that's that. Whatever makes you comfortable. But if you can like grab a new deck, that's a real challenge. Grab a new deck and do, like, you've never seen the artwork, you've never seen it, you like it, it feels kind of good to you, and then just see what comes through. Oh, wow. Look at every single card in here has two or more people. That must mean that there's something to do with others. It's not an internal read. You know what I mean? Like, just let yourself flow. And if you want to do both of those things at the same time, fine. There is no really right or wrong way. Your way is going to be the right way. Okay? So there's lots of, you know, I like the keywords, and then I also like the just flowing with the art of it. I am a stickler for asking good questions and using spreads, and use the spreads that have specific meanings for each situation. Each card has a meaning to it. That way you're going to get more accurate readings that way. Okay? We'll cover that in September.
Okay, so we're at 8:17. Do we want to do a couple more or one more? Or?
Okay, we'll do a couple more. That class in September, by the way, it's just like, you know, it's just like this. It's a one-off. So anyway, yeah, we'll talk about it more. Okay, go ahead, Colleen. Sorry.
Kath, I thought this was a cute question. She said, In our reading, I feel like I should choose the Smith-Waite deck when I feel nostalgic and had been reminiscing along. I feel like I should choose the Souls on Fire deck if I'm feeling all about the here and now. Do these feelings have relevance to energy or spiritual paths?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say whatever you feel. This is like, I feel very spiritual around certain decks. I also feel other decks have very stark meanings to me. Some of them are kind of dark. You notice, I don't use any dark decks. There's a lot of dark decks out there. And I received a few that are really just, it's just not my energy. So I don't really like them. I also am not a fan of Thoth decks that just have the numbers on them, 1 wand, 2 wands, 3 wands, 4 wands. I'm just not a fan of that. I like art. I like to see the story in the card. That helps me as an intuitive when I see just the, 5 wands or, 7 swords. Like, I know what the card means, but it doesn't give me any additional energy. And it doesn't help me see like things are moving fast or things are moving slow. It just doesn't do it for me. And when I read for individual people, the first thing I would always ask them, I would lay out the spread and I'd be like, there's no right or wrong answer to this, but does anything jump out at you? Like, what first catches your eye? You'd be amazed how many people who've never done anything with tarot, who go to get tarot readings, and they're amazingly intuitive. It's like playing golf for the first time. Like, they don't know what they don't know. And so they're not self-conscious about it. They're like, oh, that looks terrible. Or I like that one, but this feels kind of yucky to me. They're right. They're right. It's amazing. Go ahead. You guys, go ahead, Miss Colleen, one more and then we'll go.
Okay. Okay.
Tired doggies up here.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's get a good one. So Rachel asks, are there different spreads that work better with each of these timing methods? For example, the story method. Which spread would you recommend with that, and how would you go about it?
I think if you're going to use the story, I want to address this question. She's asking if this class is just one of many parts to the full tarot class. These are just one-off classes. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you guys about that.
Yeah, so let me elaborate on that. Joy, these are different from what's in the self-paced class, but we are posting these to the tarot classes, so they do become part of that after each live session.
Right. So later on, when someone buys the tarot class, they'll get all this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she was okay. So if I'm going to use the storytelling method, I really think you need to use a spread that has a significant, I'm going to say a 10 card spread, because you can pull a whole story out of one card. There's no question about that. But for me, I like when I'm looking at a story kind of thing, I want to see where we've been and where we're going. The energy of the spread, the fast moving nature of the spread, or the slow moving nature of the spread, or the, oh my God, it's all full of major arcana cards. That means that you are having some kind of archetypal experience, peak experience of your life. That's what all those major arcana cards, all the, the court cards, a lot of people in the mix, a lot of cooks in the kitchen, right? And I feel like that is another layer. So when you're looking at using timing, I do feel like the more cards you can use in a spread, the better. Now, there's plenty of people who are like, no, you can just look at 1 card or 3 cards and get a sense of that. You don't need that. I prefer using a modified Celtic cross when I'm really looking to tell time, because it gives me a lot more information. And that's just my opinion about that. So thank you for all the great questions, you guys. Really great. Really great. Okay, Miss Colleen?
I think so.
Okay. Thank you for tonight. This was wonderful. It grounded me tonight. I really appreciate that. So I hope this was helpful to you. Absolutely. I'm so glad you liked the deck. Oh my God. Hi, Catherine. Okay, you guys. So good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.